I guess basically what we're talking about is liberation. That's basically what the meeting is about, is liberation. So what is it? What is liberation? Well, I'll have to say, when I was looking for it, I thought it was going to be quite awesome. I was certainly going to be special. It was certainly going to correlate or correspond with what I thought enlightenment meant. And the first awakening sort of seemed like that's what it was about. It sort of seemed very powerful and very special. I'd found something and I wanted to tell everybody about it. Nobody wanted to hear, funny enough. And of course that left. Lasted a few months or so and it left. It was very much like a lot of the enlightenment people that sit around now and talk about personal enlightenment. It had very much that quality to it. And over the years I was able to attain, sort of through meditation and practice, sort of states of detachment, states of no thought. And although those were special, and in some ways they felt like there was a process going, a progress, it didn't touch the core of what had been recognized at that first awakening. Now, I can't say that the story is over. I don't know that anybody can say that the story is over. Or that there's no more deepening that could happen. But liberation, as far as this meeting or this expression is concerned, is the end of this needing to be anything else. It's the end of this needing even to be what it is. It's a freedom. It's freedom that nobody gets. And here it wasn't an experience, and it's not now an experience. Liberation isn't an experience. Liberation is the end of a particular experience which creates seeking. And that particular experience is really a solidity. It's a realness that makes everything appear to be part of a continuum, so that this meeting is the result of something that happened before. And that the hope, if there's a solidity out there, an experience of realness out there, the hope is that this meeting will cause something to be different or change or to be found in the future. And the liberation that's being spoken about here is the end of that. It's the end of this appearance being the result of something that came before it, or the want or the hope that it's going to be the cause of something changed or different in the future. And I guess the most surprising thing about freedom is that it's not about anyone. So it's not a freedom that somebody gets. It's not an experience that somebody has. It's the loss of something that nobody would ever look for, because the only one to look would be the individual who's looking for something else. It's inconceivably simple. It's simply this. And this hides as freedom through the experience of looking for it. So it's actually the act of looking for freedom which makes this appear to be something other than it is. Makes it appear to be unfree. There arises then an experience that says something needs to happen for this to be free. And what that is, that's a knowing experience that says, I don't know this is free. I don't have the experience of this being free. I can't relate to this freedom. And the message is, you never will. Nobody ever does. It doesn't need to be related to. And I guess you could say the good news is even that experience that something needs to happen, that this isn't whole and free, is also that freedom. So in that sense, the freedom that's being talked about here is never actually found. There is a loss of an experience that it's not freedom, but freedom is never found. This doesn't know this freedom. The freedom being talked about is literally unrecognizable, or a freedom for no one. Yeah, all right. I think that's good. If you want to chat, just unmute and ask a question.
Hi, Jim.
Yep.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Australia.
Thank you. Thank you again for doing this. It's awesome. So I was just thinking, you know, because there's an individual here, and you
There
perceive
isn't.
No, that's right. But we have the sense that everything is real, is solid, and it's not recognized, I suppose, that it's equally unreal. I guess if the apparent me stops happening, is it just obvious that everything is both the same, real and unreal?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's completely, you just can't fathom that.
No.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you're not looking for.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's a terrible message.
Yeah.
Because what the me doing is it's looking for life. It wants life. And life of course separates itself out from death. So it's looking for life, to be alive, have something more experience, looking for new things. And death is then separated out as something that might happen in the future. It creeps in as change, as discontent, and things that I don't want. But that's then the dichotomy, the experience of duality for the individual. Trying to hold on to the real and trying to get rid of the insecurity that brings about.
Yeah. Sorry.
This message is absolutely nothing to the individual. Because all it's pointing to is this. what's happening. That's all that's being suggested, that what's happening is freedom, and it happens to be all there is.
I can feel my head going, but no, it's not.
What else is there?
Yeah. Yeah. I can feel a sense of outrage at that comment.
Yeah. Oh, I know that. Yeah. Because it's ridiculous, really. It's not logical. It just doesn't leave you anything. It just leaves you nothing.
This headbutt a wall. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Headbutt a wall. Yeah.
Yeah. But it still does it. It still just headbutts a wall, even though it's,
Yeah. How do we reconcile doing and happening? Nobody does. That was a question. I just answered it. It's a chat. There's another chat about having the expectation for freedom. Well, that's freedom, having the expectation for freedom, having the experience that that expectation isn't freedom. Even I am, me, the experience of separation is freedom. There isn't anything else. Nobody ever finds freedom. Nobody ever becomes free. This isn't claiming to be free. It's not claiming to even know freedom. There's no claim at all here. There's merely pointing out that all claims come out of a knowing experience, which makes it seem like this isn't free.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
I can. Hi.
I'm on video. It didn't come up.
That's all right.
Celia. It's Celia.
I see you.
Here.
There you are.
I've spoken to you a few times from Australia. Perhaps Jenny gave me the courage to talk. I know everything I want to ask you is really asking you to help me get rid of me. I know that. And I know it's ridiculous. But I suppose today raised something. It's the same pattern of behavior. I guess if you were going to say in the character, I'm pretty insecure and anxious and have that sort of history. And when I'm quiet and on my own and just not feeling any outside pressures, I'm much more receptive. And I just want to ask you if you have sort of patterns, I'm talking like psychology, where you're triggered by people and I'm devastated. I couldn't even contemplate feeling about life when they're not there. It's totally, I'm taken over by it. I suppose my question is, I'm quite anxious, like that first lady. Does that, oh God, I hate saying this, affect my chances?
No, of course not. There's no process to what is already. Process is only a part of the dream of the individual. It's only, the individual is the only thing that lives in a world of process or progress. So the story I told at the beginning about I am and the awakening and all of that, it's just a story. It's not true. It didn't happen. Process only is part of that dream reality that something is really happening and something really matters.
Thank you.
And it is that dream reality that holds it all together.
Thank you. I loved what you said to Jenny about how that when she was talking about nothing and the me, I can't remember the words, but it was something like that almost aggravates that fear. You know, what I want to lose, I sort of, it's exaggerated. I can't explain. It's just, Anyway, thank you for that.
But exaggerated or not exaggerated has no consequence. So what the freedom that's being shared isn't a freedom that's been achieved. And what is amazing about this message is it's not pointing to an exclusive freedom that's here and not there. The message is there is only freedom. Even the experience that it's not free is freedom. Having that experience just happens to be illusory and create a seeker or seeking. And this conversation is a response to that seeking. But there isn't any freedom to be lost or had. There's only an experience that it's not free, and that's an illusion.
Yeah, thank you. Because I've been with people today that know everything, very high powered, they know everything, they experience, it's the total opposite to how I feel.
Exclusive.
And I'm sorry.
It's exclusive. It's an exclusive enlightenment, an enlightenment that speaks directly to the individual, that feels like it has to find it, that it's lost, it has to find it, and then it has the experience that it found it, and then it wants to tell you about it. Absolutely. Exclusive enlightenment.
But the thing is, I don't talk about this, and I'm 77 now, and I get this, and it's, well, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. What are you doing with your day? And it's just everything that makes me want to shrink. So that's why I asked you. Thank you. You've answered it. That it's got nothing to do with merit, or it has no influence on whether I see freedom or I don't.
No, absolutely. And you never will see freedom.
No.
The experience that it's not free stops happening.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. So someone says, you're saying everything is just happening, puts everything into passive mode with no creative joy. Yeah, I guess that's the way the me would see it.
Is that because that's an experience, and that's probably how the me would experience that?
It just makes sense to me that when hearing this message, there's an effort to make sense out of it. It doesn't actually make sense.
No.
And there's nothing on offer for the individual in this, and so it'll seem negative. It'll seem like something's being taken away from it, or something's not being offered, because it has the experience that something's missing. It feels like something needs to happen, something needs to be added. It also feels like it's the doer, it's the actor, it's the decider, and without it, nothing would really be happening. And that's what he's saying, or she. Passive mode. Without me, nothing's going to happen, because the experience is that you're doing it, that there's an actual actor inside the body that makes decisions. That experience that something's in the body is a complete illusion. The actual experience of me is more like a cloud of knowing that arises in the appearance out of a contracted energy. So that everything that happens seems to happen in that cloud of knowing, in me. It's all me. And part of that cloud of knowing is the experience of a center and a doer and a decider. It's an illusion. the creativity that's longed for in that question is all there is. Knowing what this is makes it appear solid and no longer the amazing creativity that it is. See, because we know a computer and we know a computer screen and we know a desk and we know hands and we know all of that, it somehow feels like it's not what we're looking for. But when there's no one left seeing it, when it's no longer arising in that cloud of knowing and ownership, it's then revealed to be absolute creativity. How much more creative could you get than what's happening? It's just not for anybody. Now someone asks, there is just this. What means this? Can't say that. There's no beginning or no end to it. There's no position in it. It has nothing to do with understanding or recognition. This is without beginning or end. This is unknowing appearing. This is nothing to the individual that seeks to know. It's nothing to it. Nothing. So the individual has its experience inside or as exactly what's longed for. And it goes looking for it because it can't be had or known. The individual thinks that what it's longed for is exclusive. That some people have it and some people don't. That it can be one place and not somewhere else. And as that, it has the experience that it has to do so. It has to achieve it. It's a freedom that needs to be achieved. It's a freedom that's available if I behave correctly, if I do the right thing. The right thing to the individual is the belief system that's built up around the experience of I am, about how to find the freedom that seems to be missing. So that means meditation, that means acting right, being nice, not being nice, whatever the ideas are that the individual has about what's missing or what needs to happen for this to be what's longed for. That's all simply a part of the dream of the individual. This is what's longed for. It is. There is only what's longed for. You just can't have it. And that's not a you that's making a decision to look for it. There is no personal volition in the entire appearance. There's no one in there that could stop looking. No one decided to look. So for that individual, it is for that experience, the situation is utterly hopeless.
Hi, Jim.
Hey.
So it's utterly hopeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what am I doing here?
You're not.
Yeah. I'm not. Okay, but
No. Nobody's here.
but there's a body sitting here.
There's a body.
And why was this body?
It wasn't.
But I could do, or this body could do something else right now. And
In the dream. In the dream of the individual, there's 7 billion different realities. There's 7 billion different perspectives and 7 billion different understandings and knowings of what's happening. Different positions. That's the dream. What's happening there is everything. It didn't begin anywhere. It's just simply everything appearing as that.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, there's nothing on offer for the individual here. And the individual cannot gain anything, absolutely nothing. There is still, I mean, if I look at it, there are more than 60 viewers, not people, not persons, but just like something is going on. And I was just wondering, what is it? What is it that, why are people listening to this? When there's
Yeah, that's a good question. No, there's a longing. So as soon as there's that contracted energy that appears as knowing, owning, there also comes with those two things seeking.
Yeah, so it's still a hope, right? There's
Absolutely.
that I might get something out of it today, maybe.
Totally. I'll hear it. Oh, maybe I'll hear it. It could be. It could be. There's just a simple, an unconceived yes.
Yeah.
That just hears it and goes, yeah, yeah. That's what it was for me. I used to listen to this and it was just yes. It was the closest I could get to home. It wasn't home, I knew that. But it was the closest I could get, just hearing it. A reminder in a way.
But it still didn't have any effect, any impact. It didn't make any.
Well, effect and impact is only part of the dream of the individual. See, the dream of the individual thinks that something needs to happen for this to be what it is.
Yeah.
Because it seems dissatisfying. What that dream can't know is that dissatisfaction comes out of the seeking. There isn't anything that needs to be satisfied. The end of the individual is not a solution. It's not an answer to the questions. Nobody has any answers in the end. It's the end of the questioner. The individual is absolutely certain that there are certain questions that need to be answered for it to feel okay. What is life? What's the meaning and purpose of my life? What is death? Do I survive in death? What is this about? It feels like those need to be answered, and maybe it thinks that this meeting is about those answers. It's not. Surprisingly to the individual, there are no answers. And the need for answers only arises in the dream world of the individual that says something's been lost. The end of the questioned is the end of the questioner.
Yeah, it's a death sentence for the individual.
It's a death sentence for something that never happened.
And understanding the concept still, I mean, it's irrelevant. So
Actually, understanding concepts can be sort of a relief, or at least that's what people tell me. There can be a relief.
it's not for me.
And for me, it wasn't so much about the concepts, it was something else. It was just something else that hurt it.
Yeah, but the relief is still for the individual, right? So I mean, understanding the concept can be relief, but
Well, say it's for the individual. There isn't an individual.
yeah.
There isn't an individual. So that experience of something in the body is an illusion. The experience of free will and choice is an illusion. It's an illusion. It's not actually happening. What does seem to happen is there's a cloud of knowing that arises that has the experience of separation. Nobody does that. And it makes this appear as though something it's not. And that contracted energy out of which that arises can relax sometimes when something's heard. There's no value in relaxation. There's no value in anything. Only in the story of the individual that feels like certain feelings have more value or are better than others. But that only relates to the belief system that it has about what's right and wrong good and bad, and is going to help it find what it feels is missing. It's just a dream. It's just a story. There's no relevance to anything.
And it won't help.
Well, there's something does stop happening. But the revelation is it never happened. There does seem to be seeking. That's the experience. There's seeking. And seeking can end, but not through finding anything. Through the end of an illusory experience that something was lost. But nothing's found.
And how can seeking end? Why?
Well, there's no how to it because it's not really happening.
Yeah.
Somebody just wrote, so it's like the lottery. The lottery that nobody ever wins. No way out, no way in. Nope, there's already no one there. So, what could you say about Jesus' words, if you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free? Yeah, all right, I'm with that. It's just different words for the same thing. There's no you to be free, and nobody ever knows the truth. So, is the me free too? And is it an unconscious function of knowing, owning, and seeking? No, it's got nothing to do with consciousness or unconsciousness. And it's not free in the sense that it can have what it wants, but there is only freedom. There's only freedom. And freedom can appear as anything. It can appear as faster than light. It can appear as anything you can think of. And things you probably couldn't think of. It can appear as anything. There's no limits to what this could appear as. This is absolute anarchy. Anarchy. What's happening can't be grasped. Can't be known. Can't be recognized or realized. So freedom can appear as being not free. That seems to be what's happening. Sometimes. Nothing is speaking and nothing hears. Everything arises. That's a question. The question is, what speaks the words heard? And the response is nothing. Nothing hears it either. There isn't anything. There isn't anything. Conversation is no thing. Conversing. Seeking and not seeking are the same. That's what somebody wrote. Well, not to the seeker. To the seeker, it's a very different experience. Seeking sucks. Not for everybody as much as for other people, but seeking can really suck. That sense that something's missing, that something needs to happen, that can be really quite profound for some. But in the end, everything is no thing appearing. There is only no thing appearing or freedom happening. So, as far as it being a lottery, nobody wins. There isn't any special place in heaven for people where there's no me left.
Jim, are all words stories?
I mean, you can say they're all concepts.
But a concept is just a story, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, we could talk about that. A story for me is a real continuum, is a relationship, a real relationship. Words, in a way, are energy. There is no real story anywhere. There is no story. The me is trying to get rid of a story which isn't happening. And so by trying to talk about whether words are concepts or stories, it's trying to sort of pick apart the appearance to try to find what's real and what's not real. Try to get closer to what is already. The individual has the sense that something needs to happen. For this to be what's longed for, something needs to happen. That's a dream. It is already, unconditionally, what's longed for. The me goes looking for a love that it can know, having the sense that love is lost. All the while, all there is unconditional love, simply by the fact that it appears. That's the unconditional love of it all, that it arises. Jim, hi Jim. Oh, this is a typical one. Where is the unconditional love when I hear in the news about a child being hurt? Unconditional. That's the operative word, unconditional. The idea that a child shouldn't be hurt is totally the person's idea of what's right and wrong and good and bad in the world. Which absolutely has to do with the individual's idea of what enlightenment, freedom, or being a good person is. And that arises out of the experience that you know what this is. And through knowing what it is, something's missing, and then comes the entire story of the path that you're on about being a good person. There's nothing worse in the world than good people. Except maybe spiritual people. No. Can liberation be likened to deep, dreamless sleep? No. It can't be related to anything. There's no such thing as liberation. There's no such thing as liberation. No one becomes liberated. All right and wrong is an illusion, is the question. Yes. Something would really have to be happening. See, looking at the screen right now, or sitting on a chair or being in a room is completely unconnected to anything. What's happening is absolute. It's unconnected. There's no story in this. So there's no story to tell about what's happening. So in the end, really, no one knows what this is. So how could it be right or wrong if no one even knows what's happening? Right or wrong is actually just hope of the individual that it's on the right path and rejecting the wrong path, which will then bring it closer to what it feels is missing. The sense that something needs to happen or something needs to change is just the individual's experience, that first it knows what this is, that it's happening to it, and that it's responsible for finding what's missing. That's a dream. It's not happening. The end of the individual isn't somebody waking up and realizing what this is. It's the dream that there's something else happening other than what's arising, or that there's something real in it, or that it's really happening to somebody. It never is happening to anybody. It never is real. It's just the end of that personal dream. Somebody asked me about teachers and others who say you must do something for liberation. Well, I'm pretty sure that that's their experience. And I talked about the awakening that happened here when I was much younger. And that definitely felt like something that I had accomplished. And it really felt like something I could tell other people about, and actually should tell other people about. About how to stop thinking, about how to detach from emotions and thoughts, about realizing the I that's beyond the brain, outside of time. So really, those are really powerful realizations. And you can hold on to that as a state. I don't know how long. I've heard people talk about holding it on to a state for a long time. And I'll have to say, when I heard this message, that's something that bothered me for a while. That this powerful realizations and there being nobody, how did that come together? And it wasn't until the knowing, that contracted knowing, owning, and seeking energy fell away. In that was revealed that teaching, all teaching has to do with knowing. And that knowing, that sort of knowing, is still a part of the dream of the individual. All knowing is a part of that dream. So teachings will always come out of knowing. And they'll always be talking to a person who needs to do something to find something else. And when they hear this message, it is ridiculous, because this message is of unknowing, and it's confronted with someone that really, really knows, not just sort of knows, but like really, really knows. So this message is nothing to them. It's ridiculous. There's no achievement here. Teachings are about achieving something. Teachings are about exclusive enlightenment. An enlightenment that some people have and some people don't. This message is not exclusive. It says there is only freedom, including the experience that what's happening isn't free. And nobody ever gets it. So it's not exclusive. There's no authority. This isn't an authoritative figure sitting in front of here talking about this. All there is the end of seeking, which nobody does, and happens to nobody, speaking about that seeking is looking for what is already. So I like your speaking. Are you for me authority? The individual, because it feels like something's missing, will take somebody like me to be an authority, because it has the experience that this has something that doesn't. That's just a part of the dream of the individual. So if the individual hears this, well, it doesn't hear this, but if the individual is listening, it only has really two avenues. It will either reject it because it's ridiculous, illogical, and doesn't meet any of the needs and expectations of it. Or it'll try to apply it. It'll understand it and try to apply it to its life. Nobody does that. It just if it has the sense that it's something better than what it's doing already, it'll try to apply it. Applied non-duality. But when the me collapses, if the individual knew what was being talked about, it would be disappointed. The individual experience is looking for something special, which is why it's attracted to people with funny hats and big thrones. Because it thinks that is the only solution to its very important and special problem of itself. I mean, it is the center of the universe after all. That's the experience. I'm the center of the universe. It's pretty important. And everything's happening to me. So the solution must be very important. And so it would be natural to project that onto the speaker. That this has found something that correlates to that importance, that expectation. But really, what's being suggested or pointed to is absolute ordinariness. Simplicity. What's happening as ordinary. That this hand is all the freedom there could be. That's it. It's just handing. There's just freedom handing. Freedom talking. That's it. That's simple.